Welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Tonight I have Shelley Golden. She is a personal branding image consultant and she has coined herself the Zoom makeover expert. Welcome, Shelley. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So, what is an image consultant?
An image consultant. An image consultant is somebody who helps you with how you show up, how you look to others. And of course, others are looking at you as how you are perceived. So if you want to be perceived as powerful and strong, you need to dress that way. You need to have the right look from head to toe, your hair, your glasses, your makeup, your clothes, your shoes, your accessories, you know, depending upon who you are and how you want to show up in the world. And
Yeah,
so this is what I do. I work with men, I work with women. I've been doing this on and off my entire adult life.
wow. I once went to a seminar of some sort, and the one of the speakers was talking about your image and saying that you can really create whatever perception you want to create, about yourself based on, your image and what you put out there. So people will believe whatever you sell them if you look the part. So it's pretty interesting that, the way you explained what an image consultant does. And I think a lot of people online today um, do that, like, create this image of who they want people to believe that they are for whatever reason. Maybe they really are. Maybe they're trying to sell something or, whatever. But I think it's all very fascinating. So I was going to ask you how you got into this field. You said you've been doing it for many, many years. Do you remember what you were doing right before you got into this that made this opportunity present itself?
Uh, yeah, I was in college.
Wow. Okay.
So when I so just to kind of back up a little bit to kind of tell you where I came from so you understand my mindset, because I know you're all about the journey. You like to hear about the journey.
I do.
So I am fourth generation in the fashion and clothing business. It's a bit genetic, can't help myself. Great grandfather made fur coats in Russia. Mom and dad both grew up in the men's clothing business. And in college, I actually studied textiles and business. True textile junkie extraordinaire.
Wow.
And when I was going into my senior year in college, I had an internship in Houston for 3 months, which was like so cool. It's like, wow, I get to live by myself in a studio apartment. I had this like full-time, intern job. And I was working at this high-end department store that's no longer around, but it was like par with Neiman Marcus. And, just kind of doing whatever they assigned me to. But for 1 week, I worked with their personal shopper. And I thought, this is it. This is what I want to do. Because I thought that was it. And so I was actually going to go back and work there after college. Thank God I didn't, because, at that point, Houston, the oil bust and that store ended up going out of business eventually. So it was a good thing I didn't. But that was kind of the impetus for like, wow, I really like helping people feel confident, find something that works for their body, that they like, that fits, that works well. I'm also a tailor. I'm a seamstress. I'm actually also a costume historian. At this point, I've now designed and made costumes for theater as well. I'm a certified color consultant. So kind of put all of these things together. I know what it takes to help somebody look and feel comfortable. It's not just how they should be perceived, but how they want to be perceived. Who do they want to be? how do they want to show up in the world?
Wow.
And because not everybody really knows how to do it. It's like someone might say, hey, I want to be an artist, and they're really good at being an artist, but they don't know how to promote their art. Like you just need a little help sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us need help in promoting ourselves, especially when you're starting a business or doing something. You definitely need that. So you touched on a lot of stuff. You brought up the color consultant. That was my next question. I was gonna
Yeah,
say you're a
yeah,
certified color consultant, right? From the
yeah.
Image and Color Institute International. I've never even heard of that. But like, what is a color consultant?
So even though we have listeners, but I am showing you because we could actually see each other. So I help people create a color palette of colors that work for them, uh, that really help them. People will be attracted to people who wear the right colors. So I'm sure you've seen somebody who like they have a color on and it's like, wow, and that like color makes you look tired
Yeah.
and makes you look washed out, makes you look gray. It's not saying, wow, you look beautiful in that color. When you get those, rare and far and few between those compliments, and someone will say, hey, Keisha, that color looks fabulous on you. Pay attention. Because those compliments don't come around very often, but pay attention to what color that is. So there's certain colors that work for you, certain color jewelry that works for you, that really will attract people to you, that will highlight your skin, your eyes, your lips, your hair. So I do this for people with their clothing, with their branding. If they're doing like they're rebranding their business, they're doing a new website. What colors work best for their website? Because it's their colors. You're redecorating your home, paint, furniture. You want to be surrounded by your best colors that make you shine, as opposed to kind of make you look washed out. So that's what a color consultant does, so that it really, you're drawing people to you.
Well, you look great. I love the color jacket that you're wearing. It's beautiful. And by the way, people will be able to see this video on my YouTube channel, so they'll be able to see
Oh,
the interview.
okay.
But I
Okay.
love,
Wasn't sure.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't sure. So I
Oh
wasn't, didn't
yeah,
know. All right.
no problem. Yeah, I love your jacket, and then the sweater that you have on underneath. It complements it perfectly. Your lipstick looks great. Your hair. So like you know what you're doing because you look amazing, and even your background is just gorgeous. Like me, I'm here in this like black t-shirt with a black sweater, and black is not like my best color, right? Because I'm of darker skin. So it's better for me to wear like, colors that are more that'll make my skin pop, right? But
Yeah.
guys, I've
Yeah.
been at work all day. So this is like my second job right now. So don't judge me. But Shelley looks great. So
Well, that's also what I'm doing now. I'm helping people, as I'm helping people look good, as I call it, in their box.
yeah. So what do you find the most rewarding about being a professional stylist?
I love when I work with somebody and they feel the wow effect. They stand up taller, they walk straighter, they feel more confident. So I often say that I'm in the confidence business.
Yeah.
And that I just, because that's my gift. I don't ask me anything about technology, or business isn't really my forte, but this is my gift. And I can help people feel confident with how they present themselves visually. Just I have a very keen eye to colors and shapes. Like I'll just remember what somebody wore, 10 years ago. It's just one of those things. Don't ask me about numbers, bank accounts, weight, price, forget it. Colors and shapes, I remember that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, what do you struggle with as a professional stylist? Like, if there's anything that you can say, oh, this is the one thing that I don't love about my job, but I work through it because I love everything else.
It's the technology. Well, right now I'm doing the Zoom makeover, so I am on the computer on all day long. As opposed to pre-COVID, I would be out with clients, with people. So that was not so challenging. But now it's how to promote myself on social media. And like, oh no, they changed the format. Now I have to like learn the whole new format. Or someone says, oh, you need to get this tool, for a CRM, for marketing, some, film editing, it's all these, it's constantly learning new technology. And that's not comfortable. It doesn't come easily to me. So that's what I really struggle with.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm even learning myself. Like I recently started doing these recordings, and I'm learning how to, make a border on my recording, put my logo in the side, like, and I'm doing all this stuff myself because I can't afford to hire these like high-priced people to edit my videos for me at this time, but it's good to have the skill too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it's, sometimes I feel like it's this really steep learning curve for people who technology does not come easily. So it's steeper, it's faster, and it's harder
yeah.
as opposed to other technology over my lifetime that has come about slowly. This hasn't come slowly. It's like comes crashing in, like, oh, there's something new, you got to try that.
I know it's insane. And then all of the video challenges and how people are like popping in and out of the videos and changing clothes. And I'm still trying to just like record.
Right, right, exactly.
Right. It's so funny. So um how did you include personal branding and image consulting into your business? But I wanted to ask you that, but I guess you said that it all kind of just fit together, because you're doing this personal styling stuff. But I kind of want to know, like, what gave you the idea to say, oh, all right, I'm doing this personal styling stuff, but I can also go out and help people with their branding. Was it like, were you helping someone with styling and did they ask you for help with their business, or were you doing the business branding and personal branding first and then got into the styling? Like, what came first for you?
Well, I've always done the styling.
Hmm.
So that's, in, you know, that I've done pretty much on and off my whole life. This is the third time I've had this image consulting, styling, fashion consulting business in 3 cities on 2 continents. It's what I've always done. It's what comes easily. As I say, it's my gift.
Yeah.
And so about 4 years, so I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area almost 8 years ago. And about 4 years ago, got divorced. And it's like, okay, gonna go back to doing what I do best because that's what I do best. And it's all I do it better than most people I know. And just in general. And so when I immersed myself in the Bay Area, in the business arena, it just seemed so logical. Well, I have to pick my own colors, and people would come to me and say, well, hey, what colors do you think works best for my website? Or what color should I put on my business card? Just that people were coming to me, seeing me as the expert, that not even as an expert, but someone who really gets it, who really understands what colors, what designs, what shapes work. for people, whether it's for their business, for their logos, for their website, for their clothing. And so it's just been a natural evolution.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were married, did you take a step back from working and be like like a wife, just like stay at
A
home?
non-working spouse?
Yeah.
Yes.
How did you like that?
Well, actually, it was great. I also moved a lot. So I lived in Europe and the Middle East for 15 years. And so I moved to Amsterdam, then I moved to Abu Dhabi, then I moved back to Amsterdam, then I moved to the East Coast, to Boston, to New Jersey, then to San Francisco. So, when I was moving families, it really was a lot. And I didn't really live many places for a very long time. I was also raising children. I had a daughter who died, very sadly. So she fell out of a hotel window. I know that's really shocking. So that kind of took a couple years out of my life. Then I had a couple failed adoptions. And then I adopted a 5.5-year-old girl from China. So then I put a lot of effort into her. I also had a birth son. So I had like two kids who needed a lot of attention. Then I got remarried and had now a yours, mine, and ours family, because I had like step kids and integrating families and mixed families. And every time you moved, it was new schools, new friends, new doctors. So I did take that time off, but I was always involved artistically. So when I lived in Amsterdam, one of the things that I did that really has now helped my Zoom makeover business is I studied European artists, in particular the Dutch masters and the Impressionists. And so I learned how to create a painting, how subliminal lines of perspective. So for those of you who can see, so if you look at my visual in the box, so I have two intersecting lines and they meet at my eyes. I've got these little round flowers. These, think on new lightweight little round glasses that aren't burning a hole in my skin. This circle on my Chinese cabinet and the edge of the corner of the cabinet, and there's a diagonal, kind of connect the dots, and my eyes are in the middle of that. I also have a rectangular plane over one shoulder and another larger rectangular plane over the other shoulder. And again, my eyes are in the middle of that. So I'm forcing you to look at my eyes. So like an artist, I'm showing you what I want you to look at. I've created a foreground. So by wearing this bright blue, I am very clearly in the foreground. I've got a midground, and you can definitely see that there's a background. So I have a foreground, a midground, and a background. And so with that, I'm, again, like I say, I'm forcing you to look at me. But one of the things that I really aim to do, like the premise of this, it's to really elevate, well, for me, my brand. When I'm working with you, I would be elevating your brand, increasing engagement, so people can really engage with you and not be distracted by other things, to really help trustworthiness and improve your rapport when you're talking to somebody. So that's really what I'm trying to do. And I basically take a combination of psychology, like where do I want you to look, psychology and art, and I balance out the two.
That's great. And it's so interesting that you learned that when you were living in, another country, and now it's serving you here in this business that you're doing. So, before we talk about your Zoom makeover business, what mistakes do you think people make the most with personal branding?
That they conform with color, uh, uh, color clothing. I think so many people, right, there's trends, there's always fashion trends, and sometimes people get sucked into that particular fashion trend. Because I'm a costume historian, I go back to cave, so I really look at it, from a very, thousands of years of perspective. And right now, one of the trends is black and gray shapeless clothing. And so people are trying to like fit in with the trend. So that's what they're wearing. Sometimes it could be great, don't get me wrong. But it's not always the best color and shape for everybody.
Yeah.
But then there's like the fine details. What is the neckline? Is that a good, for women, is that a good neckline for you? Do you need a V-neck? Do you need a wide neck? Do you need a rounded neck? Do you have broad shoulders, big boobs, whatever it may be? And then black sometimes washes you out. It doesn't really make you shine. And so I think in terms of personal branding, like if it kind of, I don't want to say it dumbs you down, but it just kind of makes you blend in with everybody else, as opposed to making you like if we were to work together, whoever I work with, I always try to draw what makes you special. What do you love? And so I try to put a little bit of that in your personality. And so in terms of creating a brand for somebody, a brand is how people remember you. What makes you stand out? So if you're wearing the same black and gray shapeless clothes as everybody else, you're not going to stand out and they're not going to remember you. And so that's how I help people create their brand.
Shelley, you're making me feel crazy about my black sweater and my black t-shirt. Oh my God, it's so funny. All right. And I had some
that is what I see. I was actually out for a hike like last weekend, because there's a lot of hiking here. Mm-hmm. And I was talking with who I was walking with, and I'm like, 3/4 of the people are wearing black and gray. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Except for the kids. And sometimes the East Asian women had brighter colored clothing on.
Yeah. I don't usually wear black a lot, but All right. So you call yourself
I don't mean to feel bad.
No, I'm just teasing.
I certainly don't.
So you call yourself the Zoom makeover expert. When did you decide to focus on Zoom, and what and what services do you offer people with regard to your Zoom makeover?
So the Zoom makeover, it was one of these natural evolutions. So I actually met this business coach at the end of February last year. And she's vivacious, energetic, and she's like, hey, we should do a workshop. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do a workshop with you. So our first day to talk about it was the day California closed. Like, okay, I guess we're going to be doing something online, and I thought, well, hey, I can just help people look good in their box. Just was an easy evolution. Look good in person, look good online. And we ended up having 3 workshops. We had, I don't know, almost 200 people sign up for them. And I realized, wow, this is a thing. And I kind of run with it. And I came up with the name of Zoom Makeover. And I have been working with individuals. I've been working with companies, with government organizations. And so it's now 95% of my business right now.
Wow.
I know, it's kind of a crazy thing.
That is. So I want you to share 3 Oh Hell Nos when having a Zoom call with friends, and 3 Oh Hell Nos when having a professional Zoom call. So, of course, an Oh Hell No is going to be something you don't want to do when having these calls. So, if you're having
Okay.
casual call with your girlfriends, now we have to do this to kind of connect, stay connected. What would you say are 3 things you don't want to do?
Uh, let's start when you're on a call with friends. I think, yes, even though you're a little more casual, you still don't want to be looking up anybody's nose. So, which means you've got the computer down here and the camera is looking up toward you. So you're like looking up under someone's chin and up their nose. It just still doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, it's like, that's like number one, both professionally and socially. And that's the one thing that gets me when you're like looking up somebody's nose,
Yeah.
under the chin, up their nose.
Right. Sometimes I'm on Zoom with my, at work, and my boss is like this and she's looking for something. And it's like, what are you doing? Or there was this other
Right,
lady that she would just be really close to the computer screen, and you're like, what's happening? So, yeah.
right. Um, Another oh hell no, when you're talking with your friends. I think you need to be still conscious if you're eating, because you're basically eating in someone's face,
Yeah.
and and unless you are a really dainty eater, unless you have impeccable eating skills, you don't want to chew, you're like eating in front of someone's face. So I think that is something that you want to be really uh, careful about. Like you could, eat a little something, but you don't want to be eating spaghetti or like Asian noodles when you're on a Zoom call with somebody.
Yeah, that's not going to look cute.
No, right. And I think the third oh hell no when you're talking to friends would be, like you also just like don't want to blow your nose,
Yeah.
you know.
That's another thing today. My boss, we were on a Zoom, and she was literally with the tissue blowing her nose, cleaning it out, like, and I'm just looking, I'm trying not to look because stuff like that really grosses me out. And I'm trying not to catch anything, see anything. And I'm just like, I really wish that she would stop. Like, I understand that you need to clean your nose, but just turn the camera off or say, hey, give me a second. I just need to, like blow my nose. But she was just like going in full on, like,
I'm like, really? You know, it's again because you're like in people's faces,
right.
you know, it's not like you have a whole room and you're in this whole room. You've just got a little bit of space on either side of your head. People are looking at you, and so
Yeah.
whether it's your mouth, your nose, so exactly.